Windows Server 2019 System Administration. Welcome back everybody. I'm Prakash Pradhan, your trainer for this entire series. Today's topic, what we have taken is an offline file. Offline file is actually a cache file that stores locally in your system. That means whenever any of your client, they are accessing your file via any means over the network, if your network goes down, in that case, the client won't be able to access any of the document from the network. So in order to continue their service, there is a one option that Microsoft has actually it was started since the days of Windows XP. In that case, if even your network is down, the client will be able to store or have an access their document from the offline cache. So this offline actually it is stored in a local system itself in a CSV file. That's a client side caching. It's in a system, and other user whoever log in that system will not be able to have the access on that folder because it's a cache, and only system administrator might be able to go through that location of the your client side caching system. So let's see few of the modes that we have over here in order to access your offline file. uh, when we talk about the offline file mode, there are three modes. First, you need to understand this carefully. Without having a proper knowledge is offline file mode assignment in your network, it might result into disaster if any of the client by mistake deleted their important file. So let's see some of the important modes that you need to go through properly. First one is auto offline mode. Auto offline mode means when any files or folder that is accessed via network, okay, and the your offline mode is on. So as soon as the connection goes off, that means as soon as the connection is lost from your network, that folder or that file that has been set as an as a permission to use as an offline file caching system, that file will come into the auto offline mode. That means you are accessing a file from the server and server connection is disconnected. So in that case, your computer will automatically go to the auto offline mode. That means the cache file will be used immediately. Next mode what we have over here is manual offline mode, and sometimes user might be willing to take some of their official document in order to work at home. So in that case, they will have to take that file manually selected and select the option offline. So that is called a manual offline mode. And the third mode that we find is a slow link mode. That means whenever your network connection or the network speed degrades due to any reason, in that case, the file that you were reusing, automatically it will go into the cache mode. Why? Because it detects the slow link mode. So without wasting your further time, after going through all this, let's see practically how to implement your offline file mode system in your server environment. This is my server. This is my domain controller. I'm going to do everything from the scratch. Okay, so let's start creating first a new user. I'm not going to use my existed user in my system, so I'm going to use it new user into my domain environment, so that you see practically and you witness that how the offline files are created, how the offline files are accessed, how the offline files are synced. There are many things that you need to understand over here before you implement the offline file system for the client in your network environment. So let's create one user at least in order to see this practical implementation of using a offline file system in Windows Server 2019. So let's create one user. Okay, I'm gonna create a user over here randomly just for the purpose of your offline, and I'm gonna write over here o user. Okay, let's assume as an offline user. Now I have created one user so that this user can see the use of your offline file system. So let me create one user for you. I do not want to use previously created any of account, any of the folder, because I want you to witness each and everything. Okay, now, so let's log in into other PC using a name. Okay, your O user. Let's log in. O user. Sorry, one more E is extra. Okay, now I'll log in this one. By the time it logs in, we'll start our work in the main domain so that offline file is shared. Okay, now I'm back to my server. So first work in order to access the offline file is to have a account so that that user can log in. Now the next work, I'm going to create one folder in my server and I'm going to share that folder to that O user name. Okay, so that that user can easily access the file to see or witness the offline file system. Okay, any client can use this. It might be your Windows 7, Windows XP, Vista, 8, 10, any, even the server family operating system. Okay, so I'm going to create one folder giving a name as an offline. Okay, and for instance, I'm going to create few files over here so that client can see that file. Okay, so I'm going to create two documents for testing purpose. Let's say offline 1, and I'm going to write file 1, just that. Okay, just for the instance, I'm creating this file. Now let's create another one file, and I'm going to write offline, let's say 2. Okay, offline file 2. You can write anything just for the sample I'm creating over here. Now if I share this folder, okay, when I go to the properties of sharing, okay, if I go to the advanced sharing, you see that there is a caching option. If I go over here, see, when I go to the caching of this folder of file that I am going to share over the network, there are three options. Number one, only the files and programs that users specify are available offline. That means user or the system administrator, whoever is sharing a folder, will leave as it is, and the user, whoever are in need of accessing a file via offline mode, even when they are traveling in a long distance for their some business tour and all, they can select their files available offline themselves in their branch office, and they can travel anywhere they want. After that, no files or programs from the shared folder are available offline. So there might be some sort of confidential document in your organization that you do not want any of the client to take home. There may be so many circumstances. And the third one, allow all files and programs that users open from the shared folder are automatically offline. User won't be able to know. Okay, so we are going to choose this one. This is the best example for us. Okay. This is okay. Now I'm going to share it. Okay, I'm gonna share it to whom? In the name of, we created one user just now. Okay, in your presence, O user. I'm going to share it in the name of O user. That means offline user, and I'm going to give it a full permission. Okay, read write, share it, done. Okay, now using this folder, I will show you what are the things that can be done using your offline file. Now I'm going to go to that PC. Okay, this user has already logged on. That is a O user. Okay, let's see. If I see, name of the computer, sorry, the name of your domain is Viatech and the user is O user. Now, if this user wanted to ping to that domain controller, there must be response. Okay, let's see. There's a response from the domain because this is a member of domain PC itself. Okay, so ping viatech.co. Okay, congratulations, the connection is there. Now the next thing I would like to show you is to access the offline file. Whichever files, sorry, that was 100. Whichever files are shared over the network, we are going to see all, not only the one. Okay. Okay. First we wrote the wrong IP address, so that's fine. Now second one, let's see, offline. This is the folder. I think we created two files over here. Just a second. Shadow testing offline. Okay, let's go to the domain and check the folder we created just now. Offline. Okay, this is shared. Okay, so let's see the property once again. Property, sharing, share, O user. Okay, that is shared. Okay, done, close. So let's see from here whether this file is available or not. 192.168.1.100. okay, because that was not displayed over there, that's why. Okay, where is our offline? Okay, two files are there. Okay, it should be displayed over there. Now why is it not displaying over here? Okay, here we go. So two files are here. This is file number 1. We wrote file 1 and we have file number 2, and offline file 2 is returned. Now we have left the option as it is, saying that any file that the user want to keep it in their cache as an offline can go for that. So I'm not going to keep both the files, I'm going to keep only one file. So right click. So now this is the step that how to keep your file offline in your system. Right click any file that you want, though you can do the full folder as well, okay, but I want to show you this something called conflict, that's why I'm doing only one. So right click and always available offline. As soon as I do that, see this squirrel, blue squirrel, some people used to call this, okay, I mean to say green, okay, sorry. So the green square icon will come over here also. Sync center, that means this is the sync center. Sync center means the one your icon over here that will definitely help you to synchronize your file to the server. Now if I open this file 1, if I go to the domain, because still I am in a network connection mode, okay, now here the same content is there. Now since the file number 1 that has been already cached by the user in the system, now even if connection fails, this user will be able to use that. So how to go about that? I'm going to disable the NIC now. See, since it has logged as a local user, it will not allow you, it will ask you the system administrator password. Obviously no problem, I'm gonna provide it. That means even the local user, I remember the local user password, so I get that. Okay, now I'm gonna disable this NIC. Connection is lost. Now the main purpose of using offline file is to have access your file even if the connection is lost. So if I ping, there is no connection. Ping 192.168.1.100, that is the domain from where the file was shared. See, there is no connection. General failure. That means the NIC is only disabled over here. Okay, let it be like that. Now let's see whether I can access the offline file or not using this user or user. Okay, so click offline, cross finger, congratulations. See, only the file that you have selected to make available as an offline mode that has enabled over here, that means that is displayed over here, the contents are displayed, it's in cache. Whereas if I go to offline 2, can you see cross is there? See, not this is cross. That means inside this folder there are 2 files, but only one file is made cache. Now question rise over here, what if I bring one change in this file? So let's say I'm in offline mode, that means my connection is disconnected. So let's say was added from client in offline mode, so I saved it, okay, and this file is in local cache, and when I go to the server over here, this is in online mode. So in online mode, system administrator brought certain changes. Okay, let's say was added from admin. Now the problem starts. Why? When your client access this file from the network through the cache system, offline cache, it shows only the content that is available in the local cache. See, whereas if I go to server, okay, if I go to my server over here, since it is in online, the content is different. Now what will happen when my client comes online? Okay, let's enable the NIC now. I'm gonna enable it. Okay, I'm gonna enable it. As soon as I enable, okay, I try to access the file. What do you say? Will it be accessing a file via your connected server or your offline? So let's try that. Offline, double click. See, was added from client in offline mode. That means this is still client added cache mode file. Whereas if I go to the server in my main computer where the file was saved, it was written was added from admin. That means it is not synchronized. There comes the important role of your sync center. Okay, Now after you keep your file, any of file in your offline mode, the sync center will be automatically activated actually over here at the task manager. See here. And this exclamation means there is a conflict in file. Conflict in a sense, one copy of file that you have stored in cache is different than the version of the file that is being stored in a server, and whenever your network comes alive, they will try to synchronize from client to the server, not from server to the client. So when the client tries to synchronize or update the content that you have written something during your offline mode, it has to be updated in the server. But when you try to update in a server, the content in the same file is changed in the server. So that's why it says the conflict. Okay, if I go to the view conflicts, it will display over here offline file 1. Remember, this was the file where the conflict was taken. Now if I double click in order to resolve this conflict issue, it will give me 3 options. You need to understand it carefully. First option, keep this version. That means the version of your local computer. That means whatever changes were brought in a server, the file will be overwritten by this copy. Number 2, keep this version. That means the version of your server from where the file was shared, that will override the local version of your file. But if you were traveling in for the business purpose, some business tour was there, you brought so many changes in your main file server in a cache, and you come back, if the server file replace that your local cache, that means whatever changes you brought over your business tour will be deleted, and that is irreparable. Don't forget, that is irreparable. So in that case, there is a third option. What? Keep both the versions. See, before I click this, keep both the versions, I'd like to take you back to the server and want to make sure there are 2 files. Okay, when I go to the client, okay, I click my conflict and I choose the option keep both versions. That means now there will be 3 files. See, conflict resolved. It's resolved now. View sync result. Sync completed. If I go back to my server in order to see here, I told you. Added from the client that you brought from the business tour, and this is from the server admin, whatever was changed in your server file. So this is the easy setup of your offline file, but there are many things that you need to see over here. How often offline file tries to get update or sync with the server in order to check whether the server is online or not? That is 2 minutes. In every 2 minutes, your offline file actually tries to get contact with the server. You cannot stop this. This is a default setting. And the second one, slow link detection. That is in a 5 minutes, every 5 minutes. Okay, so let's see the detailed management of your offline file. Manage offline file. Okay. First one, you can disable because it was you who enabled this file. Number 2, open sync center. We have already gone through that. Okay, sync center. And the next one, view your offline files. See, it's showing your offline file. This one, folder is empty. Computer, this PC, which file? This file, offline. These are the 2 files actually. Offline 1, offline 1. This file is here in cache actually, it means to say that. Okay. Now, the next one that I need to show you over here in the property, that is disk usage. Around 10% of your disk, local disk space will be used for your offline usage. So if you are sharing a file having the huge size, kindly make sure that your hard disk is having enough space in local area disks. Otherwise, your local computer's maximum disk utilization will be used for the offline file system. So you need to make sure for that. Apart from this, you want to change the limit? Option is there. You can do that. Of course, administrator privilege is required for that. I would like to show you all this. See, having the theoretical knowledge is okay, it's good, but you need to have hand-on practice. Okay. See now, 20% of this, whatever it is saying, limit is this, you can extend also. It is up to you. Okay, but I suggest you to leave as it is. And if you wanted to delete the temporary file in order to clear the cache so that your performance goes faster, do not click this right away before the conflict is being resolved. Okay, that means first you need to synchronize your local computer from the server so that all the updates are being uploaded in the server, then only delete this. Otherwise, whichever files were not uploaded from the client to the server are going to be deleted. So that's a loss. And the next one, encryption. If you think that you would like to keep your file safe, in that case you can encrypt as well. Okay, and the next one, network. See, check for slow connection in every 5 minutes. That means if your computer has detected slow link, okay, in that case, rather than using a file from the server, it's going to utilize the file access from the cache. So this can be changed, but still I suggest leave these options as it is. Okay, and how about setting a schedule for the synchronization from the client to the server? There is an option, set up new sync partnership. You can set the partnership also. You can set up actually. Okay, but now since this is all done or set from the administrator side, you leave it as it is. Otherwise, you could set the time also. Okay, you can set this partnership also. See, it's saying there are no new sync partnership that can set up on this computer because we have nothing to do with the setup over here. Entire things are already synchronized with the server. Okay, so I guess this was fruitful and you understood clearly how to configure and how to resolve the issues of the conflict. Okay, so there are two things that you need to memorize. Number one, offline file, try to get synchronized from the host to the server in every 2 minutes in the background. Whether you like it or not, this will happen. And number two, the slow link detection of mode also, the file will be used in a form of cache, and the default time for the slow link detection from host to the server is 5 minutes. I hope this was a bit informative and it's going to help you a lot in order to implement and manage your offline file system in your network infrastructure. If you like this video, please do not forget to press like and subscribe. Thank you.